It's time to set sail for the coast of Keytown. Everybody climb aboard the Keyflower. All aboard now. So today we're going to look at Keyflower, powered by Game Salute. They brought that to the US. Thank you, Game Salute. That was mighty nice of you. R&D Games, who have done the other, well, actually Pro Ludo used to do it, and then it was R&D Games, but they did the Key series of games. Keyflower is one of those, Cathedral, Key Harvest, and Key Market, which I don't have if anybody wants to send that to me. You know, it's only out of print and barely ever released, and I want it badly, so somebody send it to me and I would much appreciate it. Anyway, what we have here, I'm not going to go into a lot of explanation. I'm just going to review the game as we go along here, and I unbox some things and take a look. You have these, first of all, you've got a bag full of meeple. Look at all these. Look at all those meeple, folks. Look at them. If they were in a cereal box, you would want them, wouldn't you? I know I do. Look at them. Meeple. Oh, meeple. Anyway, you got those, and then you got some green ones too. And they're wonderful. They're wonderful to have these meeple. But they're basically a currency. And also workers that you place. But they go on these tiles that you'll be setting out. And there's tiles for every season. And depending on the number of players, I mean, you won't see all these tiles. But, you know, these tiles do different things, and you're building your little village, and it's really cool that you're building a village, right? I love a village. And then you've got boats that are coming into the town, dropping off folk, as they do. And so basically, these boats come in with more people every turn, and then you got your house, and you know, you build everything around your house, these tiles that you get, and you bid on these tiles, and the way you bid on them is pretty cool. It's an interesting mechanic. Once you bid on a tile, let's say I want to bid on this inn. I place my worker kind of facing me, so you know who's placing the bid. And once I place that bid, then everybody else has to follow with the same color of meeple. So if I place a bid of one meeple, then if somebody else wanted it, they'd have to place more meeple of that color there. Then I reposition that meeple, or I would have to add on more to have more. Then they'd reposition theirs, what have you. But somebody could also, at the same time, come and say, well, since you guys are fighting over this, I'm going to put this meeple on here, and then they can do whatever the action is, which is draw a random meeple out of the bag, woohoo, and put it behind their screen. And all the meeple that you have, the colors and stuff, is hidden information, so it's kind of a auction bidding mechanic that really works out pretty well. I don't like auctions, but the bidding like this, I can handle. And then if somebody else wanted to use it, they would have to put two more on there, but somebody could come along with two more red and put them on here and use this. And the cool thing is that whoever wins the tile will get all the meeple that are on it. The other thing is the most a tile can have on it is 6 meeple, so this tile can only be activated one more time. Now once you gain the tile, it'll go on like your homestead. You hook it up with the, you know, you gotta make them connect properly, right? And then somebody else, you know, next turn, somebody else could put their meeple, and it doesn't have to be that color, but it could be whatever color. They could put it on your tile and use it. And that's kind of cool too. But the thing that's also cool is that you will get this meeple back at the end of the round. You'll get their meeple, so you can use them to bid the next round. So even though they're using it, you're getting something out of it. So yeah, they might use it, but I can still, maybe I have 2 yellow, I can put them on there. And all these meeple on my tiles that I put on them, I get to take those back at the end of the round. So that's another thing where it's kind of, things kind of escalate in the game as far as meeple go. You never have quite as many as you want though. But it's just really neat where you're looking at everybody else's farms or whatever and looking and seeing what they've got out there and going, okay, well I need this. So if I'm going to get this, I'm going to have to look over at somebody else. And then you kind of snatch something of theirs and they're like, drats! I hate you and your blue people coming in on my land, encroaching upon me. Anyway, that's really cool. And another thing at the beginning of the game is you have what are called winter tiles. And winter tiles are like the end game scoring conditions. And it's kind of weird. And it's one of the things that I'm not sure that I love about the game. But it's an interesting thing. At the beginning, you'll get like 3 of these, and then when it becomes winter, then you decide which ones you'll put out for auction. You don't have to put them all out. So maybe you'll just put out one and try and get that one. But the thing is, you're putting it out there and other people can steal it. That's what, you know, maybe I don't like, because other people can steal it away from you. But at the same time, you have these tiles in your hand at the beginning and it kind of gives you goals that you can go for. What I find though is that, and this is probably my fault overall, is that I never go for those goals. I end up doing something completely different. Like, because something gets stolen away from me in some auction or whatever, and then I'm off on contingency plan B. I still win my fair amount, I guess, so I can't complain too much. But then there's, you know, you've got all your end scoring, and, you know, you got your goods that you're pushing around and you're moving them to the right tile to get points at the end, and it's a really fun little game. It's so unique in a lot of aspects of the bidding mechanic and the placement. That's what makes it fun to me. And and then you also have these little tiles here that you can use. Skill tiles, and then you have your little houses that you hide your meeple behind that you set up here. But I love all the little different things that are going on with this game. It really has a lot of flavor to the game. I haven't played it with the Farmers expansion, so I don't know if I really like that Farmers expansion or not. It does look interesting. I'll have to admit that much. One of my few complaints about the game would probably be the 4 seasons almost makes it feel too short at times. Like, you're building up your engine, but you're not quite getting there. But I think a lot of people like that it's not too awfully long. But it's a pretty quick game, but you'd be surprised. Like, the first round can go really fast, and then the second round, your options open up, so then you start seeing a little bit more time that it takes for that round to complete. And then the third round is when things start getting, you know, a little bit more down and dirty. But another cool thing was on the box here. On the box, it kind of tells the story about the key releases there. So I thought that was another nice touch. Once again, some people may not like this game as much, but I thought it was very interesting game. One that does some, takes different mechanics and makes it a little more interesting than maybe normal. So if this sounds like a game for you, I would definitely check it out. It offers you some things that you just don't see in a lot of the other games. There are a few questionable things in the rules, but there's, I always recommend getting some player aids online. And sometimes, like this one here, just helps clarify a lot of things. And with this player aid, I really almost don't need the rule book. There is another player aid that I don't have printed out that's handy too, that just kind of summarizes the tiles, and that can be handy because some of the tiles are a little bit confusing, especially, that would be the other thing I think, is that some of the tiles are a little confusing, especially on some of the boats. You might have to reference some of these, and I think maybe that could have been just a little more streamlined, possibly. I'm a big proponent of, why don't you just have a little handout for each player in there? I know it increases the cost by $1 or $2, but goodness sakes, just do it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Excellent game, Keyflower. You can get it by Game Salute. They still have it in stock, I believe, and it has an expansion if that interests you, so Keyflower.